This story is told from a female point of view. My name is Julia and I'm 22 years old. In 2019, I took a gap year off school because I was fed up with all the learning and endless exams. I finally had an opportunity to make my own money and travel across the country. After a few trips during the summer, I decided to take up a shop assistant job at my local supermarket for the winter. However, to my bad luck, I chose the worst time period possible to work there. In my country, an outbreak took place, and I had to speed up work and work like two people in one position to keep all the shelves filled up in my shop. There was mass hysteria in my city, and everyone was panic buying supplies to prepare themselves for the worst. I had to wear a face mask and gloves, and then, after a while, something horrible happened. Something that made me quit this job immediately. It was evening. There weren't many people in the building because we were 1 hour to closing. Then this strange old guy came through the entrance of the store, and he immediately grabbed my attention by coughing. I shrugged it off because throughout the day there were a lot of people that came into the store and would cough all day, everywhere. I continued to clean up the floor and forget about the strange guy that walked in. A few minutes later, I began to notice some customers walking at a very fast pace out of the shop. They were leaving one by one, each of them looking terrified of something. They had wide open eyes and looked like they really wanted to get out of this place as quickly as possible. It was weird because I had never seen people walking out of this market so fast, and so many of them even. I started to walk slowly down the alley toward the aisle of the shop. I was a little scared, but I wanted to know what the heck was going on here. I was expecting maybe some broken pipes that was shooting out water or some other liquid or something. Slowly, I leaned my head to look into the aisle, and I noticed that everything was in order. I was relieved for a second, but then I saw him, the creepy old guy. I couldn't believe my eyes of what he was doing. He got really close to the fresh produce area and started to spit his saliva all over our vegetables. All that while coughing really hard on other products. This isn't happening, I told myself. If he is infected with the virus, then this kind of act would be considered terrorism. He was purposely trying to infect people. He even looked crazy. His skin was in a really bad condition. He almost looked like a zombie. I was too scared to come any closer to him, so I yelled at him to stop what he was doing or I would call the police. He stopped, rose up, locked his eyes on me, and froze. There were no emotions on his face. I felt as if his eyes were piercing into mine. I started to sweat and my heart was beating faster and faster. Then he started to walk towards me with his arms wide open. "What are you gonna do about it? I've lost my life anyway," he said. And then he started to run towards me. I turned around and ran as fast as I could to go to the entrance, but then he caught me and we fell on the floor. He grabbed me with his legs and pressed really hard against me on my stomach. It was so painful. I couldn't even breathe. Then he pulled his hands to my face and was trying to take off my mask. I saw him forming his dirty mouth to get ready to spit on me. I held both of my palms on my mask and resisted as much as I could. It didn't last long when my manager ran up to us and kicked the old man in the back. Then the attacker finally released me. I then called the police when my manager was holding him by pressing his head to the floor. We were both terrified. I had never felt worse in my entire life. I had a severe anxiety attack for the next few minutes. Then the police arrived and they took the man into custody. We told them everything that had happened, and they told us that he would most likely be charged with terrorism due to his intention to infect others with the virus. They couldn't believe it either. Why would somebody try to infect other people? I later found out that the old man had recovered from the virus, and he was then going to go through a series of psychiatric examinations in order to determine whether or not he'd be able to stand trial. He was infected by his wife who recently died to respiratory failure. Maybe he went insane out of despair. I was thinking to myself that. but I was relieved that I didn't let him infect me. I decided to go to the hospital to get tested for the virus just to be sure. And fortunately, I was not infected, but I still had to be quarantined for 14 days. And for sure, I can tell you, I will never, ever work as a shop assistant ever again. Please like and subscribe to Mort for more amazing, scary animated stories. Thank you.